Panel now, Daniel Halper of the New York Post, also Susan Page, Washington bureau chief at USA Today, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Daniel, let's start with you. When does he cease becoming a businessman, if he still is, and becoming a president?
Well, it probably should have happened about yesterday, or when he got elected. Look, what was the knock against Hillary Clinton is that she was crooked, that she benefited off of the state, off of her service in government and her family. And that was crooked Hillary, right? That's what Donald Trump called her throughout the campaign, and he obviously was very successful in doing so. He needs to be careful now going forward that any appearance of conflict of interest will be held against him, will be questioned, and reporters will ask what is going on if this is not dealt with properly in the next, during the transition period. This is a very pivotal time for him and his business, because it will really shape, there's just a few blocks from here and from the White House, there's a Trump hotel. There was a report over the weekend that diplomats are staying or have been feel pressured to stay at that hotel. Those sorts of things could dog him throughout his presidency if he's not able to deal with it at this moment.
And Susan, this is all complicated by the fact that his children are the Trump business partners as well. So it's virtually impossible for them to not know who he's negotiating with as president. How does he extricate himself from this relationship?
I think it's so complicated. It's so unprecedented. We've never had a president this wealthy or one with this kind of empire, an empire that bears his name, and his children are going to run it. So the possibility of the kind of blind trust that past presidents have done is simply not an option here. I think it's going to be a continuing issue that he'll need to address day by day, week by week. It's not as though he's going to stop being Trump. And the Trump industry, the Trump network, the Trump empire is not going to go away. They're going to have to figure out ways to proceed with the family business that his kids are going to run in a way that reassures Americans that he's not mixing that with the public's business.
Charles?
I don't think it can be done. I don't think this is a complicated problem. I think this is an insoluble problem. First of all, we've never had a president with holdings so widespread around the world. Second, as he himself has said in many of the depositions he's done over the years, the value of his company fluctuates according to perception. And the main element of the values of a lot of his properties has to do with his name. Many of them are not his. They slap his name on and the value increases and he gets a payment. So the idea, what you would normally do is you sell everything, because you can't have a blind trust for a business that's so visible. You have to sell everything. But that, of course, would impact the value. It would be a fire sale. He would never do that. He spent his entire life constructing this extremely closely held empire that all revolves around him and reflects him. It would require him to basically look back on the 30 years of his life he built this and to say, that's over forever. I'm now going to liquidate my holdings, and from now on I'm president and president only. Unless he does that, there is no answer to this, and every time he makes a phone call to the head of state where he has a business interest, there will be questions.
And the chances of that actually happening?
Close to zero. But then again, I said that about his chances of winning the presidency.
Right.
So take that with a grain of salt.
Okay.